There's a lot of people that don't have the ability to have deep conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found in recent times is I don't want to surround myself with those people.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Mm-hmm. To keep it real surface level.
It's more exhausting to keep it surface level and not get into the nitty gritty than it is to have a deeply emotional conversation and
really talk.
Yeah.
Why do you think people really don't talk?
People don't talk to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So how could you feel comfortable sharing uncomfortable things about yourself with other people?
Yeah.
Getting into the things that you believe when you don't even know what you believe in.
Yeah. I think there's a level like desensitizing like yourself to others and vice versa, because there's like a barrier that's put up between like you and strangers. Like I always think about when I worked in a retail store and I'm like, when I was ringing someone up, there's like a level of like dehumanization that happens between like you and the worker. And it's very, hi, how are you? Good. You know, like keep it real brief. And there's like moments where you kind of break that. And like I would always break that and like say something that maybe every other cashier isn't saying and be like, oh, I really like your nails. And then it like opens up the conversation to like be more than like, hey, how are you? You find everything okay? Like the normal conversation you're used to. And sometimes people would open up immediately after having that invitation. And sometimes people just totally didn't like that.
Yeah, sometimes people shield themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to talk to other people like people.
Yeah.
They want it to be very transactional.
Yeah.
How do you think we change that?
I think that there's a level of vulnerability that like comes into play when it comes to having conversations beyond surface level, because it's really safe to talk about the weather. It's really safe to talk about how, it's only Tuesday. What a long week we're all having. All those surface level conversations are really safe for people to have and comfortable. And it's uncomfortable to walk into work with people who you see every day, but you keep very surface level, and to be like, my grandma just died. People are like, you know what I mean? Like, whoa. It's like, oh, that's vulnerable. Like, are we really going to talk about that?
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I was talking to my dad and he was saying how he doesn't talk about work outside of work. It's what? Why would I talk about it? It's work.
Yeah.
You know? And just like to see all these relationships that you have with people
Mm-hmm.
and only look at your relationship as it's work. I don't really care about you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
He was like, your mother doesn't know the name of one person that I work with. Why don't I talk about it? It's work.
Yeah. It's like compartmentalized. See,
but when you find that you love to do the thing that you call work, your work becomes your life.
Mm-hmm.
Your work becomes your play. It becomes the same thing.
Yeah.
Of course you want to talk about. Of course I want to talk about the videos that I'm doing and the people that I'm working with. Of course you want to talk about Pilates.
Yeah. Yeah. And my favorite clients and my least favorite clients and all the things, because it's my life.
Yeah, the distinction between work and life.
Yeah.
A lot of people make that. They don't think about work when they come home, which I envy a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's, if I wasn't thinking about the things that I'm doing, it would mean those things don't matter enough.
Mm-hmm.
In the same time my dad's talking about work and how work is work, he's like, yeah, these people paid my bills for almost 30 years, same company, but if the place burnt to the ground, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not love.
No, definitely not love. It's very transactional, like you were saying. I give this to you, you give this to me, and there's no emotional attachment. It's very cut and dry.
Well, that seems to be how everything is nowadays.
It operates, yeah.
Sex operates that way.
Mm-hmm.
Commerce operates that way. Work operates that way. relationships, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Friends are, oh, you owe me for this. You owe me for that. Keeping tabs.
Yeah.
Ideally, I wouldn't like my friends to be keeping tabs on everything. Oh, you drove, so now next time I gotta drive, and oh, you got me that drink. Like, I owe you next time. It's like,
Yeah.
can't we just love each other and
Just be all kumbaya.
yeah,
Just all in one flow.
it sounds nice,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, when you're doing business, you gotta keep tabs.
Yeah, you do have to keep tabs, but it is hard when your business becomes your life, because then sometimes you view everything as business, and then you are kind of in that like transactional state of like, I did this for you, I get this amount, and am I over delivering? Am I under delivering? When it comes to like personal relationships.
This is true. It's hard to differentiate personal relationships from business relationships at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing business all the time, it's difficult to see where, oh, you're really my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's like, this is business, but you're really my friend.
Yeah. Or if you are doing business together and then you make that like decision, or just like note like, oh, this person really is my friend, and then they fuck you over in your business. It's like, oh shit, like, were they really my friend? Because then things get like real tricky.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you're doing business together, there is always an element of like, you got to watch your own back.
You have to.
Yeah.
People, it sounds nice and hippy dippy that like, oh, we all love each other and the world's a happy place and we want to help you out. I scratch your back, you scratch my back.
Mm-hmm.
But like, inherently, at some point, the ego creeps in and humans get selfish. And I see that in myself. I see that in other people.
Yeah.
It's like when you're dealing with people, like the ego does creep in. The ego says, "Oh, maybe you should have a little bit more money. Oh, maybe you aren't getting paid what you're worth. Oh, maybe they're talking about you behind your back."
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. It starts to just like wonder. But I think a little bit of that is good.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of that.
You've got to doubt the people that before you trust them fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just trust everybody blindly, then you're just an idiot. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, because we were talking about it yesterday that not everybody is your friend.
No. And
not
that's okay.
Not everybody wants the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how good and how great you show up in the world, and how much you want to show up as an outstanding person,
Mm-hmm.
an extraordinary person,
Mm-hmm.
put your best foot forward all the time, people are going to try and fuck you.
For sure. And if you're just walking around like, I trust everyone, I trust everyone, I trust everyone, you're going to get fucked. You got to fuck around and find out. And then you fuck around and find out and you're like, shit. Trust is something that is earned. It's not given off rip. At least in my life it is. I find that every time I have trusted blindly, I've gotten fucked.
This is true.
So,
see, I think I give people more of the benefit of the doubt than you do.
yeah, you do.
And
I think your like curiosity gets the best of you.
yeah. It's because in my mind, like, if I show up in the world one way, I would expect other people to show up in the world similarly.
Yeah.
Right? The world being a reflection back to me. But still, like, that doesn't happen all the time.
No, it doesn't happen all the time. But I think that that's like a reminder still of like internally, like, what are you neglecting in yourself? What are you not fully trusting in yourself? I don't think that like people's actions are always like a reflection of what's happening internally inside of you, but I think it can be perceived in ways that can relate to you.
Yeah, because I often talk about learning from the world, seeing the world as a reflection of yourself, and like sometimes it kind of sucks to think like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you're like, huh. It makes you really think about who you are.
Yeah, and it makes you get a bit defensive,
and
frustrated.
And taking accountability too for when other people may not have your best interest. If I can turn that back on myself and not be a victim, that ultimately I'll be a much better, more prepared person for it in the future.
Yeah. And I also think that like getting fucked over or not being treated the way that you maybe wanted to be treated or thought that you were going to be treated is just like a beautiful redirection for something else, something maybe bigger, something maybe better. I don't think anything is like a mistake or a regret. I think it's just redirection. And it's usually very hard to see that in the moment. You usually need some time before you can like look back on something and be like, I'm so grateful that that happened because I wouldn't be here. But in the moment, it doesn't feel that way.
It's difficult to be grateful for pain when it hurts.
Yeah, of course. I don't know if you can be grateful for pain when it hurts.
I think you can.
Or if some time needs to pass.
I think you can be grateful for pain while you have it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it just comes naturally. I don't think people are naturally grateful. I think it's an understanding of how our universe works that you begin to alchemize your state of mind.
Yeah.
To be grateful for painful things. If you're talking about getting a new tattoo.
Yeah.
You get a new tattoo, it's going to hurt, but you're going to be sitting there grateful that you're getting
Yeah.
it done.
Yeah.
I go jump in a cold ocean and I'm yelling, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's 30 degrees out and that's painful and it hurts, but I'm grateful for it. Now you flip it a bit more, emotional trauma is more difficult to be grateful for. If I just up and left on you and you had to say, thank you, Corey, for showing me the way.
No.
You were like that.
No.
I won't up and leave on you, baby.
Don't up and leave. Are you kidding? Like we could have used any other example. There's so many others. Don't do that.
All right, I won't.
That would be really fucking hard to be grateful for.
Yeah. It would be, but that's the thing. Yeah, gratitude it's a superpower. And when you can be grateful for things that hurt, it shows maybe that the pain is momentary. The pain is human. Suffering is innately human. But suffering is finite. Right? When we die, are we going to be suffering anymore?
No.
So that's the gift. So if we can be grateful for the pain that we feel when we lose somebody that we love, when we lose a job that we love doing, when we get super injured and have to go get surgery, you have to get your wisdom teeth out. If you can be grateful for those things that suck in the human life,
that's what makes you human.
Yeah,
it's definitely like very interesting because you sit here and you talk about it, right? And it makes a lot of sense and whatever, and then it happens to you, and it's a lot harder to deal with. Like my grandma just passed and I'm like sitting in the car the day after it happened, driving down to go see you and just like hysterically crying and realizing that everyone in my life is going to die. I'm going to watch so many people that I love so dearly die. And that's what it means to be a human. To love and to loss is like the essence of us being here. And I think in that moment, I was feeling grateful to have loved a grandparent so dearly that it was hurting so much. But then was overwhelmed by the thought that, like, I have to do this so many times. Like, you don't just lose one person in your life. You lose a lot of people throughout your life. And it was like, wow, like, being a human is hard. Being a human is so raw and so emotional, and it's difficult to navigate when you're feeling true, raw, painful emotion.
But I think the joys are much higher.
Of course. Of course.
Because I think everything is elevated from a finite perspective.
That's why we're all chasing the joy, to be happy. If we could all live in happiness for the rest of our lives and never experience any other emotion, we wouldn't be human. It would be amazing.
It would hurt, probably.
But I think we would get sick of it. I think we would get tired of being happy all the time. You have to have the others. And happy really isn't, happy is not my favorite emotion.
Happiness isn't all it's chalked up to be.
It's really not. Like, it's cool. I'd rather be, like, in peace or, like, in bliss than happy.
I would equate bliss to happiness.
Yeah.
In a sense. Joy, bliss, it's happiness. But I think people wrongly associate happiness with what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People think that happiness is something that happens when you have external circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But innately, humans don't seek happiness. Humans seek change. Curiosity. You're always curious on what's on the other side of the door. You're seeking change. And you think that change is going to bring about happiness. And it might for a small moment.
Mm-hmm.
But the happiness, it's gone quick.
Mm-hmm.
We constantly are seeking to change, to grow, to evolve. And happiness comes for a moment with that change, but it doesn't stick around.
Yeah.
And me, as a very curious person, I constantly enjoy change, whether it feels good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly seeking out change and evolution. Hopping on planes, sitting in hot saunas, and jumping in cold plunges, and writing songs, and doing business here, and falling in love. It's a change. It's to constantly change my emotional state,
Mm-hmm.
my vibrational state. Because if we stay in one vibration, whether it's love or joy
You're going to
or
overdo
shame, it gets old after a while.
You're going to overdo it.
So those lows that we feel, like you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, you need the highs and the lows, they balance each other.
Yeah.
And that's what it is to be a human being. Is
Mm-hmm.
to have both of them, to accept both of them.
Mm-hmm.
To love
Duality.
both of them. Yeah. Because it is duality.
Mm-hmm.
We are separate
Mm-hmm.
for this time. I can't be in your body.
Well.
Well,
I couldn't help it. You can't be in my body.
no.
But you're right. You can't be in my mind. Can't be in my being.
And your beingness is so uniquely you. And it's so uniquely temporary.
Mm-hmm.
There would never be another Deanna Parisi.
Mm-hmm.
With all the same goofy characteristics and little quirks and aphorisms that you say and the way you smile and the wrinkles on your cheeks. There's never going to be another being that's going to replicate that entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this unique manifestation in physical form for this finite period of time.
Yeah, I feel like it's so cliche to be like, you are one of a kind, right? But like, you are one of a kind. Like, some cliches exist because they're true. And like, maybe it's cheesy, maybe it's corny, but if you actually like peel back the layers to that, it's exactly what we're talking about. You are, there's nobody else. And there will be nobody else. You are you in this lifetime, on this timeline. It's just individually, beautifully, perfectly you.
And we idolize other people,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
We idolize other people, celebrities, musicians, artists, our parents, our teachers,
Yeah.
the popular kids in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You idolize people.
You wish you were like them.
Yes. But we can never understand what it's like to be another person.
Mm-hmm.
And with a different perspective comes different problems, comes different pain.
Mm-hmm.
For somebody to become some way, they had to feel some sort of pain to grow in that way.
Yeah.
You go in a forest, you think any of the trees are looking at that one and go, damn. I wish I grew like that. That's a sick branch.
Yeah.
That's an awesome branch. I wish I had that branch.
I wish my leaves grew like those leaves.
They don't.
Yeah. They actually work together. Underneath in the ground, they send each other what they need. We don't really do that here.
Send each other what we need.
Like, as humans, we don't really work together anymore.
Well, I think that's why human civilization is what it is because we've learned to work together.
Mm-hmm.
We are uniquely the only species on planet Earth that can socialize and form community and language and work together, which is why we're building rocket ships and studying philosophy and creating podcasts and sharing our thoughts with the world because we have the ability to work together.
Yeah. And I feel like now more than ever, like, people are craving like community and like togetherness.
I mean, it's something that is so foreign now.
Mm-hmm.
You have the family unit and nothing outside of it.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, and half the people in America probably don't have two parents.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting divorced, and you go to school and stand in lines, and
People don't go see their families on Christmas, and yeah.
You do business, and it's only signatures and checks, and it's not.
It's transactional.
Very transactional. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And community isn't transactional.
Mm-hmm.
Community and love shines. It's not conditional.
Yeah.
And if you have true community and you crave true community, you're craving true love.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why humans innately are so drawn to partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
This is the closest that we can get to true unconditional love and community.
Yeah. There's something in us that needs companionship, companion with a partner, companion with friends, companion with family. We have had tribes forever. We are tribal beings. We need to have support and companionship around us.
This is true?
This is true. Biologically, like, to create, right? To like create more human beings, we have like the drive and like sexual desire in our bodies to be drawn to people, and like that's how babies are made, birds and bees. But like beyond that, there's also a drive to just have people around you. Like, human beings weren't made to just operate alone and be alone and isolate. That's like not what we do. And if you think about it, no species on Earth operates alone, isolates alone. Not that I know of. All the birds work together.
It's like a gravitation of consciousness to one another.
Right? Like, that's what I'm trying to think right now. Like ants. Ants are always fucking working together, moving together, bringing food to the, whatever you call it, hole. What is that called? Canal? I don't know. The ant stuff in the ground. They bring the food together. There's always a couple of them walking, not one of them walking. And if there's one of them walking, then it got lost. And and a lot of us humans are lost.
Yeah, there's a lot of loners.
I felt lost for a while. And it's lonely.
It is lonely.
Especially when you have like different thoughts and beliefs about the world and you want to learn about consciousness and spirituality and have deep and meaningful conversations and you don't want to talk about the weather. You crave community. You crave companionship. You want to talk about that with people. And when you're sitting with all your old friends and they're retelling the same stories from high school over and over again, and we're talking about nothing, it doesn't fill the cup.
It doesn't fill the cup. It's tough because you love the people that you grew up with. You love the people that you surrounded yourself with for your youth.
Mm-hmm.
You love the people. You love the people that you've gotten close to, because you have had those deep conversations a lot of times with those people in the past. But at some point, when does it get lost?
Mm-hmm.
You
Or sometimes I feel like I've become the one who like always wants to get deep, like especially with my friends. And I feel like sometimes they're like, dude, can we just talk about nothing? Like, can we just watch the baseball game on the TV? And I'm like, but how are you? Like, how's work? Like, what do you hate about your boss? Is there a girl in your life? Like, do you like her? Like, and they don't want to do it.
Well, I think you love where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough getting deep when you don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes I may project that onto other people because I do love where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that reciprocated back to me because other people recognize that.
Right.
When I see people after a while, they're like, dude, you're crushing it. It's like, well, the only reason you know I'm crushing it is because I post on Instagram, but like, how are you?
Right. Yeah, but I think that like if people took the risk to open up and to maybe talk about how they don't love where they are, like they would find that talking to someone like you or me, like we would just hold compassion for you. And like we have also been there. It's not like we're all holy and above. Like I've been through it. You've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
So just like take the risk in conversation to get to that point, to open up a little bit with somebody that you trust. And you might be surprised on how much compassion is given and how much your relationship with that person just deepens.
It feels like a lot of times I'm the one that has to open it up, like you said, with other people on a deep level. And maybe it's because I'm a deep person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe me going into myself has opened that up in myself so that now I have to open that up in other people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's part of why we're here. Maybe our depth of consciousness and understanding of ourselves allows us to open that up in other people. And maybe our frustration is that other people aren't quite on the same vibration as we are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't resonate with people anymore.
Yeah.
Which is why we resonate well together, because both of us have went deep on ourselves.
Yeah.
Ask ourselves questions.
Yeah. I think I asked you last night before we went to bed, like when we when was the first time you saw me when we were in college? And whatever, you were like, oh, junior year. And I was like, it wasn't freshman year? We didn't see each other at all? Like, we were the same major. And you were like, we weren't on the same vibration yet. And like, that's accurate. We weren't even conscious of each other's existence because we weren't there yet. I was somewhere else. You were somewhere else.
Yeah. You attract in what you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to the reality is a mirror. And I mean, we started this talking about business and not just loving everybody, but there is an aspect that you do have. You've got to love everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Be weary, maybe not trust everybody. Trust and love may be different.
Mm-hmm. I think you can accept everybody. You can accept everybody exactly where they are, as they are, without judgment.
Well, you can forgive, you can accept, and you can love everybody.
You don't need to trust everybody.
This is true.
Yeah.
I guess trusting everybody.
And that doesn't mean that you need to shut the door, lock the door, and fucking bury the key. No. You can still go in the room, but just look around. Don't sit down. Don't take your shoes off. Don't kick your feet up. Don't get comfortable. Just look around. Observe, watch, notice, feel. Does it feel good? Am I comfortable here? Am I safe? Ask yourself those questions around a person or a group of people. And if a lot of them are no, if the feeling in your body is unsafe, if something inside you is telling you to run and listen to it.
I think there is an element of trust that we can give everybody, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you just listened to that voice that said run when we initially confessed our love for each other, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that there was an element in my mind that was saying run because I was scared, but the feeling when I was around you was outweighing that because I felt safe and I felt comfortable. So all those answers to that questions were yes, 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 yes. And there was one run. And all the yeses outweighed the run. And I also am very deeply connected to myself and knew where that run was coming from. You know?
It always boils down to knowing yourself.
Exactly. Like, literally. It's like, always does.
Always comes back to who am I? What do I want? And
what is my intuition saying?
yeah, so listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a superpower. You've got a good intuition, girl.
You like my intuition?
Mm-hmm.
I like your intuition.
I find it attractive.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're attracted to my intuition? I like that.
Yeah.
Find someone who's attracted to your intuition.
Yeah. Maybe you can trust them.
Yeah. I trust you.
All right. That's all we got. Much love. Much peace. There's so many more videos on my channel about spirituality, consciousness, self-realization. I'm drawing it up on the whiteboard, talking all good things about consciousness and sacred geometry and
so much good stuff.
I love understanding and piecing together the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you help articulate it for people to understand. For me to understand.
Yeah. I help people understand themselves through esoteric knowledge and piece together the universe. Because that's what I enjoy doing. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So click, click, click. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
And we'll be back next week.
Love you.